To say, just tell us what's on your mind, just thought, not with you, so
Oh, this table?
you can begin. If you'd like to. Or you can pass.
No, I have been very happy to come in. I didn't really thinking about coming, and originally I was thinking just for more physical reason to let King go alone, but now I'm very happy. And mostly because I'm learn. I love history. I know a lot of things about Vietnam from being a European people, like everybody knows. But I learned things that I never expected. Mostly the help that people like Bob did. It was a total surprise for me. I thought that you guys just came here, bombed the country, and left. That's what I thought. That's what the book says. They didn't say much more than that. But actually, it was a totally different story. And of course, I knew from before meeting Kim's dead people, all the other soldiers, how the closeness is between people. But in a way, I mean, I was expecting from that, knowing which way everybody's kind of related, it makes a difference. I mean, it's something that I learned about this country. I'm living 27 years here, and still I'm learning something about this country.
About the U.S.
Yeah, yeah, it was a very good thing. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm stuck.
You speechless bull.
That's good. But I really haven't prepared anything, so it's just going to come out. And each one of you really has touched me. I mean, really. I mean, I'm going to write a book, but no, really, each one of you, men and women, the veterans, and I heard your stories. Gosh, that day in the village, and it goes on and on with. Each one has been really important, and I think each of us would probably understand that and say the same. These two guys, wow! What can I say, Bill and Gene? What a trip! You took me right to the place, and especially nationally, you took me right to the spot. I walked right over and I could see it all. I lost it after I told my story. Thank God you were there. I turned around and there you were. Thank you, both of you. I mean, there's one that's special, that makes a difference. I was the first to go at Phu Bai when we got to Camp Eagle. We were kind of looking, but the place is a warehouse now and all that kind of thing. And my buddies, if you remember one of my buddies, John Brown, his family has refused to remember him. His family, his sister, has refused to even want to talk to me, which is fine with me. But no, it's not fine with me, I guess I should say. But I respected that, but I don't agree with it. And then, I mean, that person has been wiped off by his family, thrown away, forget it. His life was a waste. And you know what I'm going to say. And then we have the other side, a 5-year-old girl who came with us to honor her fallen father, the person she never forgot. So special to me in that case. I know it was special for all of you. A little probably more for me because I had the hurt of the people who threw away the guy I knew. And that I'm the only one that remembers it. Very special. Thank you so much for remembering your father.
Thank you.
I think every society in history has had a rule against killing. But it's always a rule that says, thou shalt not kill, except your enemies. And when it comes to killing enemies, we send our young men out to do the job. And in general, societies honor and acknowledge the people who die. But I don't think that they recognize the sacrifice and the pain of those who don't die. And so I want to thank all the veterans for their service, for their unselfishness in going, for their courage, and for their sacrifice. If a country is rich and it's weak, it will not be rich very long, it will be overrun. And if a country is strong but afraid to use its power, it will constantly be tested. But if a country abuses its power, it's a bully. It's a terrible balance. But somebody has to stand ready to take that challenge. And those are our men in arms and women these days. And so thank you all.
Well, Skip and I came to Vietnam for one purpose, and that's to try to help him rid his guilt that he's carried for almost 50 years, which I know all of you have also. Time will tell whether we accomplish that, but the awareness that I have gained by listening to everyone's stories have given me a better understanding. We can now talk about his time here. I think he feels that I now know some of what he experienced. It has definitely strengthened our relationship. It's no longer a taboo subject for us. And I want to thank everyone for sharing their stories. And I hope it has healed you as I hope it will heal Skip.
Vietnam is not a place I would have ever chosen to go by my own self. I wouldn't have missed it. Like you, I think sometimes parts of it have been off limits to discussion. I think memories carry an awful lot of power. But during this trip, we have seen places where memories have been very, very strong, but the places don't exist except in those memories. And so the memories don't have the power that they once did. The healing happens. I think it helps all of us, understanding-wise, healing-wise, confronting those things that we would best not remember. And I thoroughly appreciate the professionalism, the kindness of the people in this country, and the experience I've had here. And I want to thank you all for that.
Well, you guys have all said a lot of good things, and you know, there's a lot of some of the things that I was going to planning to say. So maybe I'll take a little different tack. The catharsis of all of us being here together and becoming friends. It's sort of it's a brotherhood, you know, whether it's Army or it doesn't matter, you're warriors. And I don't know, I guess I was surprised at seeing there's nothing left of our sign of all the years and all the struggle and all the loss here, except our language on signs because of the tourists now. You know, the French left architecture, they were here a lot longer. They left architecture, they left concrete block houses that are still, that we use and that are still here. But the only thing I've seen since we've been here are the reinforced bunkers at Marble Mountain Airport. That's the only sign that we were ever here, you know. And yet we come back to a beautiful country. The people are very happy. They have no animosity toward us, at least they show and all. And so I think it was a very worthwhile trip.
I wasn't surprised that there were no other MACV people in this group. My war was much different than your war. I left here a total agnostic and terribly introverted. I'm not any more extroverted today than I was. But it has been, for me, somewhat like for the wives. I hear all your stories, they're not my story. The different things that were said and the different problems that you had. Al's Village, thank you, Kim, for joining us. Bob, Big Bob. It's been good for me to be here. My son was supposed to come with me. He cleverly got pleurisy a week before. And I had hoped that he would come and understand me as the wives perhaps understood. But in some sense, I'm an outsider, and I thank you guys for letting me be part of the discussions and all the storytelling that's been going on and all the good natured, and to Bill and Jean, I think it's been just a fantastic experience. You have to say something.
I have to say something.
You have to say something.
Well, I want to thank Jean and Bill. I mean, this was a great trip. It's everything I hoped it would be, and thank you for that. Everybody, thank everybody.
That was perfect timing.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Birthday boy.
It's only by accident that I was allowed to join this group. I didn't purpose to do what I did in my youth. I was privileged to join it. And to this day, I recognize that, and I stand in awe. So be advised, I stand in awe of this group and what has been accomplished. Thank you much, gentlemen.
Well, my grandfather was a naval officer. My father was a submariner during World War II. I have an uncle that was in the military, in the Navy. Most of our family was Navy. I have a brother who was in the Navy, and a couple of nephews, actually. We come from that background, and I moved almost every other year when I was in elementary school, junior high school, and all of that sort of thing, because that's the way the military worked. And it wasn't a problem for me, and it wasn't a problem for my mother. And we really appreciate so much those of you who were not at the home front, but were doing all of the real work. And I'm so thankful to be here and to meet so many of you. Because as we wander through many of the places we live, you don't hear as much about the military as you should. You don't get the recognition that you should. Every now and then a flag comes out, and sometimes that word makes me sad. It's not more prevalent than that. That's what I have to say.
There are two things I'm taking away from this. The first is when we arrived at the site where you laid out the memorial for your father. It was about you and your father. I got to tell you, I was standing in the back while taps were playing, and I pretty much lost it because I was also thinking of Wild Bill Cody, Lieutenant Hans Knopf, and Lieutenant Harley Howard, and Specialist Ford Jacobs, and Bill Eder, and a number of others that are still forever young. That was the first thing, and I shared that with you. The second thing is, I've just met about a dozen other brothers in arms today during this trip that I didn't have when we arrived. really happy about that. Over to you, sir.
Well, first off, Bill, Jean, thank you from the bottom of my heart. When I told my wife I wanted to do this, she never batted an eye, said okay. And I've just dropped something out there to honor, I know, my wife and most all the wives in here, and these women have put up with more crap out of us in the last, well, since then. That's, you know, my wife should get a medal for putting up with me. But she never batted an eye. She said, fine. I was surprised at a great many things I saw here. Disappointed at first, but then later on I come to realize that, all right, it's not here, it's done, and I can close the book on that one. So, she asked me, she said, do you know anybody that's going to be on the tour? I said, I don't know a soul on that tour, but I'm sure I'll know them when I get back. And he just mentioned, I'll have a band of brothers and sisters.
And a twin.
And a twin. Yeah, but I knew he you know, Mom liked his best. Which, by the way, I'll let you all know, I am an only child.
Are you really? Well, you're not.
Therefore,
anymore.
I am no longer.
That's right, no more.
But it is absolutely phenomenal. And I had never expected anything like this. One more hand for the men, Jean and Bill.
I know Tex since 2004 in the